Hi, my name is Ann Simeo, and we're going to explore some education laws specific to Massachusetts. All of these have federal regulations that require, in most cases, the state to make more specific laws, and these are how Massachusetts decided to make those specific laws. The first one we're going to explore is the minimum school age. School-age child is defined as any persons of ages 3 through 21 who has not attained a high school diploma or its equivalent. I find this interesting because age 3 is a lot younger than many of the other states. Many of the other states have a minimum age of 5. And I always find the 21 interesting because I teach at a community college here in Massachusetts, and we have Gateway to College programs where students are able to obtain their high school diploma while taking college classes, and once they hit 21, they're done with the program, and this is the reason why. Note also that Massachusetts child care and preschool education programs offer free or inexpensive child care options to low-income families with children. Families can choose the type of child care they want, including daycare centers, family child care, in-home child care, or preschool. Many of the Massachusetts child care and preschool education programs are included. Massachusetts does have that youngest minimum age defining a school-age child. We should note that each school committee in Massachusetts establishes its own minimum age for school attendance as far as kindergarten and entering the preschool programs in their schools, provided that is not older than the mandatory minimum age established by the state. The next law from Massachusetts I wanted to cover was corporal punishment laws in public schools. So Massachusetts prohibits corporal punishment, but any member of a school committee, teacher, or agent of a school may use reasonable force to protect themselves, pupils, or other persons from an assault by a pupil. So corporal punishment is the use of spanking, paddling, or other types of physical force as a means of school discipline. Many states have moved away from corporal punishment, and Massachusetts prohibited corporal punishment in the state. It's interesting to note that school corporal punishment is currently legal in 19 states, and over 160,000 children in these states are subject to corporal punishment in schools each year. Most of those schools are in the South. I found it very interesting that corporal punishment was even allowed in any schools in this day and age in the United States. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to touch on this law. The next law that I wanted to touch on was prayer in public schools. Section 1A of Chapter 71 provides for a period of silence not to exceed 1 minute. And Section 1B permits the school committee of any city or town to allow any student attending its public school to voluntarily pray if the child's parent has given permission. So I found these pieces interesting because as we go through, the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution prohibits the government from promoting or creating an official religion. Public schools are considered agents of the government. Arguably, a moment of silence reflection does not violate the Constitution so long as the teacher does not instruct the students that they must pray during this time. Students have the choice to spend the time praying or engaging in some other silent activity. So 1 minute is provided in the beginning of the school day in order for students that choose to pray. The next part that I wanted to cover was privacy of school records laws in Massachusetts. So parents or guardians of a child in elementary school or secondary schools have the right to inspect records concerning their child. The record that they have access to must include the report card and progress reports, achievement test results, referral for special needs assessments, notification of absences or illnesses, and notification of disciplinary actions like detention, suspensions, and expulsions. So a copy of the first transcript must be provided free of charge, but a limited fee could be charged for additional. And a student over the age of 18 has the right to inspect their own records. The Board of Education must have a regulation regarding the maintenance and retention of school documents. Generally, parents with or without custodial rights have access to the student records unless there's a protective order in place prohibiting the parent's access to the child, or the parent is denied visitation or is ordered to be supervised during visitations due to a threat to the child. I thought this part was a little interesting as well because I didn't realize I didn't cover all of the school privacy laws, just the access to the school records. And the fact that some of the things that needed to be included, the referral for special needs or notification of absences and illnesses and disciplinary actions in order to see those school records. So that's why I included this one. The last one that I wanted to include was the display of the flags in school. The Supreme Court has ruled that politically motivated violations of the flag code are protected by the First Amendment. However, the flag code has no provisions for enforcement. No fines, no penalties. There's nothing law enforcement can do when the flag code is broken. It is up to the states to determine. So I thought that was interesting to include in this part of it because Massachusetts does, because it is left to local enforcement, Massachusetts requires a flag to be flown outside of each school building, weather permitting, and displayed in assembly halls and in each classroom. Massachusetts also requires the Pledge of Allegiance to be recited at the beginning of the first period of the day. Failure for a period of 5 consecutive days by the principal or teacher in charge of the school, or failure for 2 consecutive weeks by a teacher to salute the flag and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, or cause the pupils under their control not to do such things, shall be punished for every such period by a fine of no more than $5. So there is a fine in the state of Massachusetts of $5 if a teacher or principal does not fly the flag as they should, or they choose not to recite the Pledge of Allegiance as they should. Here are the resources I used. I'll also include my PowerPoint slide along with the notes and the resources that you can see. But these are some of the rules specific to Massachusetts that may differ state by state. I hope you enjoyed learning about them.